Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honors, the elders and apostles, a great millstone, who are teaching this truth with sincerity. And a shout out to Akim out there in the four quarters of the earth proclaiming this truth. Brak of the Yahweh, Brak of the Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, Brakatem. So it's been a couple weeks since I taught over here. Last time Esau Edom tried to get in the video and say that, well, you better be teaching JC. You know, because it's always about JC, even though there's no J in the Hebrew, right? We break down that stronghold, you know, because it's always about, if you were really about what the Son of Man was about, you'd be wanting to get back to the original language, right? And you'd want to use a Strong's Concordance. See, that's another thing. I believe the Strong's Concordance was meant for the elect Israelites, you know. The Blue Letter Bible was meant for the elect Israelites to actually have concordances to go into, right? Because we break down the words correctly. You know, we divide the word correctly and we teach it correctly from the apostles on down. And that's just it, though, is that you see, you have to get back to the original language that was being spoke. And, you know, it's speaking. The noise of their fall was heard in the Red Sea, right? You know, and that is the defeat of not only those Amalekites, but the defeat of Babylon the Great, you know. And that is talking about when, you know, at least the flock draws everyone in. And, well, pretty much Iran has announced this week that they will not be, you know, responding anytime soon. That, in other words, their plan of retaliation this time is going to take a little more coordinated, a little more planning. And it's not going to be so predictive, you know. Because everybody was expecting Iran to respond within a few days after the Israeli attack on Tehran. But this time, of course, the consequences are much more severe. So it's going to be a much more coordinated attack. They're going to hit when they least expect it. And the Iron Dome ain't really going to do shit. It's not really even holding off Hezbollah now. You know, and Hezbollah has increased, you know, their retaliation as well. In fact, they just killed they actually struck some targets in the Golan Heights, which the Golan Heights is really a part of Syria, but of course those gutter rats, those Amalekites, have stolen that land from the Syrians. Now there's a reason for that, and like everything else, so, you know, that's what they keep on doing, is stealing lands. That's what this whole Gaza war is about, because, see, they want to, you know, claim that whole territory, right? Because they found out that in the Palestinian territory of Gaza, there's actual oil. So it's really about an oil grab. And of course, you know, expanding their Israeli state, you know, in the Levant, because that's what ISIL actually means, Israeli state in Levant. But they told you it's Islamic State. Islamic State is a made-up proxy that they created from all the other proxy groups that they support, right? All the other terror groups, and then they just decided to call it Islamic State. But really, ISIS, which is another one of the acronyms, is the Israeli Secret Intelligence Services. So, pretty much, though, you know, they control all the terrorism in the region, right? The only terror to those countries is the Israeli state. Now, there's a reason for this, and that is because, of course, Ishmael, you know, and Syrians, of course, all countries in general, but especially over there, had everything to do with the taking down of the Israelites and selling us into slavery, selling us to those bastards, the Amalekites, you know. And that's why the Amalekites now are closing in on them. You see, it's going back. What goes around comes around, you say? Well, that's actually biblical. That comes from these prophecies, right? So, you know, and what do you do to render me? All the coasts of Palestine, right? I mean, isn't this all about Palestine? And that's what's happening, though. This recompense is going to be returned. You know, the Most High is going to not only turn all the nations against this area, right? But the angels are going to have some fun, too. Because what do you think them thermonuclear weapons are? Those are the angels of the Most High, too. They're the ones that guide those things. And they protect them. That's why you haven't really heard about any nuclear missiles since World War II. You know, yeah, sure, you might have had some of the smaller neutrons dropped in, you know, the Donbas area. You know that the Israeli state used a small neutron bomb there, but you haven't, you know, heard of any bigger ones, right? But you have heard about nuclear meltdowns, and that's what the Zionists over there in Ukraine are trying, right? To actually cause the nuclear power plants to go down, which would cause a greater catastrophe. And then just say that Russia did it, but everybody kind of knows about that plan. And Germany, of course, is now cutting funding to Ukraine. And most people are tired of Ukraine. That's why they kind of threw Biden and Ukraine under the bus. And they went ahead and they started blaming Zelensky finally. Not blaming themselves for the Nord Stream sabotage, even though Biden said it numerous times that he would end the Nord Stream pipeline, that he would do it. But now they're saying Ukraine did it after they said that Russia did it, right? Well, what do you think that Kiev is going to do? You see, that's all rumors of war, right? We're in the times of wars and rumors of wars. Famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places, and yet a war on what you're allowed to say, right? Because they are locking people down in the UK, you know, for what they say, what they post, you know. You're catching it all the time, you know, that, okay, this person said something against the establishment, that really there is no, you know, Islamist over there. You see, you think it's about Islamic, migration over there, and that these protests in the UK are really about that. A lot of them are protesting against, that mandatory that everybody had to take. You know, a lot of them are protesting about that, you know, and they want compensation for that. They want answers for that. But you don't really hear about that because that, of course, is not going to get any publication unless you turn into the alternative media. You know, and you're still limited to what you'll find even on YouTube about that. But really, truly, though, it's about cracking down on what you post about it, you know. And, of course, we know that Soros has infiltrated the Palestinian rights groups, right? You know, because they keep on interrupting the so-called DNC, shit. You know, and all it is a shit show anyways, a DNC. And now you heard that RFK Jr. is now endorsing Donald J. Trump, which he spoke very much against Operation Warp Speed. He very much spoke against, the rollouts. But now he's shaking his hand. You see, that's just it. They all still bow down because they are Caesars. They bow down to Caesar, right? AKA Nero Trump, you know, which I already mentioned this, but, I can bring it up again. I had a dream, though, and now that we are in election 2024, that both Biden and Donald Trump would be, pretty much push the same agenda, that they would go on tour together, push the same agenda. And that's for everybody to get it, to get it while you still can, the boosters and all those things, to get it. Well, wasn't that what Operation Warp Speed was, about getting out, about this wonderful cure, But it was like a micro C-hip, he told you all those things, being careful about the wording, because, of course, can't go into that too much, but you have to go into that if you're a prophet, right? Because like everything else, though, they're pushing the same agenda, the one world agenda. They are going to pretty much make it mandatory very soon. And what do you think that Joe Biden is doing on his way out? Yeah, I know you're hearing more about Harris and Trump, but what do you think he's doing on his way out? Oh yeah, the digital ID. Now the digital ID is going to be pushed to track someone's every movement, and they're going to want that microscopic tag to track someone's every movement. That's what the discussions are about, and that's what is really behind the digital ID. The digital ID, the digital wallet, will get everyone to take the mandatory micro C-hip, and that's going to come. And they will rule on it, mark his words. Those are famous words by Biden, right? So that's what he's doing on his way out, He's, fast tracking the digital ID, which you're already hearing about digital driver's licenses, here in California and other states, that they're adapting the digital driver's licenses. They're going to get everybody into this digital ID system, and then they're going to mandate the micro C-hip, and a lot of people will be caught in that because, well, they've already moved everything over digitally. They've already received the central bank digital currencies because they're going to get rid of money very soon. Oh yeah, they're going to soon stop the printing. They're going to cause a crisis. Hey, they've been getting rid of cash for quite some time, getting rid of cash transactions, but eventually it will happen, and they will mandate it. you know. And as you know, Amazon, Whole Foods had already said pay with your hand. Whole Foods, to get in. And they are sending emails to all the Prime customers. I got my email because, of course, I have Prime, because, yeah, I order some stuff online. There's just, hey, that's the way it is now. You just can't get a lot of stuff locally anymore because, yeah, Amazon does control a lot of that, or Walmart or some of the other ones. But, yeah, I got an email from them saying if you want to get your digital, if you want to pay with your hand, it's very easy to set up digital payments. That was the word I was looking for, digital payments. So a lot of people would be caught in that, eventually, they're going to want to implant you. They want to implant you with the micro chip. And that'll be the way to be able to pay. Because cash will be eliminated. They've already done it in China, pretty much, the majority of them do not pay with cash anymore, And then you got monkey butt out there, right? Which, is spread anally, but now they're saying that you can get it otherwise, right? Even though it was a sodomite disease originally. But you see, isn't that what AIDS was too? And it's the same shit, they are declaring that. But it's also to really much expand it because that was supposed to expire, all the emergency protocols that they took for COVID, that pretty much to extend it, which is declare another national emergency, right? So as long as they're under a national emergency or a worldwide health emergency, they can expand their powers. So pretty much though, now, they say that, there's like 1,100 more cases of monkey butt in the Congo, And like everything else, though, we know that monkey butt is spread anally. So it's really only a threat to them butt fuckers, to put it lightly, because that's what it is, But they want to scare everyone with that, right? Get your Mpox, what, vaccinate. Hey, they got everybody to do it before, so why not with this one? But is that going to be the next lockdown? Well, they're reassuring, the EU is reassuring, oh no, we're not going to have a lockdown over this. Sure, we were reassured that of the last one, right? So it could go either way. They may or may not use monkey butt, but there's just been more talks about monkey butt. That's what I call it anyways. I know it's called Mpox, that they keep changing the names, but it is monkey butt, So we got all that going on. Then we got more buildup going on in the Red Sea, right? Yeah. So you got 3 or 4 wars within the same war, which is the Gaza war, right? To seize control of the Gaza Strip, so that way they can, expand their land, and build into their land. These bastards dwelling in Ashdod, which they will be wiped out eventually because that Magog backs these other countries, And by the time that Iran does respond, well, Vladimir Putin has already gave his blessing to Iran that any retaliation against the Israeli state, he's given them the okay, that Russia will back them. So that's this next response is going to be a lot bigger, right? Now, like everything else, though, we also know that Damascus is in the prophecy as well. So I look at it as, what they've been telling you all along. The Samson Act. They'll, once Iran starts pounding them, they'll take the Samson option, which is to eliminate Damascus, causing it to cease from being a city. And then that will start the third woe. That is the nuclear portion of it. Because, hey, World War III is already here in the essence of, okay, all countries are at war in one way or another. You got currency wars, right? And pretty much, though, you got the BRICS nations. That's a big one as well. So the ditching of the dollar. You think that they're just going to let the dollar die? No, they're going to go to war over that. And they're going to want control. They're not just going to let people back out of the petrodollar. Of course not, because the Saudis, they don't want to deal with the dollar exclusively anymore. That was from before. But the newer prince doesn't even like, well, you could say king because he's not a prince anymore. He doesn't even like the U.S. anymore and doesn't want anything to do. And you could call him a BRICS Plus member, right? Because both Saudi Arabia and Iran are BRICS Plus members. So you got that as well, you see. So in essence, it is a global trade war, right? It's the third world that's coming quickly, right? But eventually it will go nuclear. You know, the Samson option, you know, will be when Iran, I believe when Iran makes their retaliation, it's going to be big. And then, you know, Gomer and all his bands are going to be in there, right? Because Ezekiel 38 chapter really goes into who's going to be involved in this third woe, right? You know, that eventually becomes nuclear. And all these countries, you know, are going to get involved, you know. And yet, you know, you have also hearing about the Houthis, which is, you know, others that, well, they say that Iran's directly involved. You can say proxies of Iran, Hezbollah, and the Houthis, right? Because they've always wanted a war with Iran, right? But, hey, you know, this is what's going on here.
Yemeni armed forces have reportedly launched a covert war aimed at targeting Israel's ports, in what analysts believe could become one of the largest retaliatory operations against Israel, in response to the death of Palestinian political figure Ismail Haniyeh. This escalation has captured the attention of various Western media outlets, which are now closely monitoring the potential impact of such an attack on U.S. operations in the Red Sea. Despite the presence of American forces, their efforts to curtail the Yemeni offensive have so far proven ineffective, raising concerns about the effectiveness of the military approach over diplomacy. Although the frequency of attacks in the Red Sea has diminished, the threat has not entirely subsided, leaving the waters perilous for navigation. This persistent danger has prompted many shipping companies to reconsider their routes, opting for longer journeys that bypass the
So like everything else, though, you know, their shipping arrangements has had to, you know, detour. You know, they have to take a detour because it's not really safe to send, you know, merchant vessels in that area. You know, which you could say is definitely justified because the last time Iran had a vessel there, they seized their vessel, right? You know, these goddamn fucking Babylonians, the Edomites, man, they... you know, seized their container, right, that was meant for shipping to Syria, you know, but now it's now on the other foot, right? You know, that their shipping routes have been compromised. You see, and that's all happening in the Strait of Hormuz, you know, which is mostly safeguarded by Persia, you know, which, by the way, Persia, you know, just happens to have the largest navy of all. Yeah. Their navy surpasses that of any other navy, but the scripture tells us as to who's going to be at war, you know, with Magog backing them, right? Ezekiel chapter 38 and verse 4. I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws and bring thee forth, all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. You know, so pretty much Magog will join in the fight in this war, the third woe that cometh quickly. Persia, Ethiopia, Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. So when Iran does make its offensive, it's possible retaliation. Now, they may still do a retaliation, but this one's going to be much bigger, and this is telling you who's going to be at war. Gomer and all his bands, well, that's talking about Turkey. And they have been making a lot of statements lately, and then so has the Israeli state saying that, oh, he's going to be the next Saddam, that they're going to topple Erdogan like they did with Saddam. You know? So Gomer is not exactly friendly to the Israeli state either. The house of Takarma, the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare thyself, and all the company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So, pretty much so. Magog, again, has given the blessing to Persia. So those are all the countries that are going to be at war, which this will go nuclear. You know, that's the third woe that cometh quickly. And to not be caught in it, of course, is to not worship the beast in his image, right? And not receive his mark. Well, what is the image of the beast? Because others will tell you that it's just Cesare Borgia. Well, that's an idol. You know, Cesare Borgia has been an idol, and we've all been guilty of that before we come to the realization that that was a false image. You know, hey, it's one of the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not worship the graven image, thou shalt not worship idols, right? So we've been guilty of that for quite some time, whether it's willing or unwillingly, knowing, right? But we were always taught that that was the image of JC. Hey, JC, we've all been gotten our dose of, plantation Christianity. That's not the MOTB. No, this is something that has to be injected into the skin. You don't have to claim to be a so-called Christian in order to be able to buy or sell. So this thing's going to hinder you from being able to buy or sell. Well, they're about to get rid of money soon. It's all going to be digital. So you'll have to have that digital tracking device in you, which is to be implanted. So that's what it is. It's not plantation Christianity, and it's certainly not the image of Cesare Borgia. And it's not sleeping with the so-called Edomite woman, right? AKA a concubine, because... Look, a lot of us Israelites, that go back to being the 12 tribes may no longer look like Israelites, but still have the seed of David, the seed of Jacob, for that matter, And again, we are not all going to look alike, but yet we're going to have the spirit of prophecy. See, that's what Paul the Apostle talked about mostly, is having the spirit of prophecy to be able to decipher things, right? Because when Yahushua was here, most of the Israelites rejected him. They didn't know what he was talking about, and they rejected him. They're like, well, it's this way, it's that way, right? The Pharisees, etc., the keepers of the law, well, they did not accept what he was saying. Only an elect did. Well, that's how it is now, right? Only an elect is actually hearing this. That's those that have the understanding. Will be able to calculate the number of the beast, to know what his number is, right? And it's a lot more than just knowing that it's 603 but metaphorically speaking, which, again, these scriptures speak to you that way, right? In parables, are going to understand who this beast is. The image of the beast is quite simply his system, how he gets down, right? The beast is the infrastructure of Esau Edom, the government, if you will, And I don't mean whether you go to the DNC convention or the Republican convention, it goes a lot deeper than that. But those that are down with the system are going to take the implantable chip, because it says, those that worship the image of the beast and receive his maquet, right? To receive the implant. So that's what it is. And receiving this implant is what guarantees you for the third woe that cometh quickly, being caught up in World War III and the wrath from the angels, which are them chariot sightings. And yeah, there's a lot of activity of that. I mean, the government has already disclosed that, yes, in fact, there are UFOs. These unidentified flying objects are in existence because everybody has cameras now, and we can see them clearly. Their presence is becoming a lot more known. It's not just rare sightings anymore. It's becoming more frequently known. That's because the angels are getting ready. They are prepared for an hour. Loose the angels that are behind the great river Euphrates. Well, that's Syria in the region, right? That's Syria, that's Iraq, that's and these rivers that all meet was right there in that valley, the valley of Yehoshaphat. Yes, they will go to war even against Saudi Arabia. I mean, it's an all-out war. The Israeli state is going to draw everybody into this war. The least of the flock shall draw them in, right? And make their habitations desolate with them, right? Because that land, better known as Ashdod, is going to be made wholly desolate, as well as Babylon the Great. But Babylon the Great will never be inhabited again. Yeah, that place of Ashdod is going to get wiped out, but not to the point that Babylon the Great is. Because of course we're going to rebuild that land, and it's going to become Israel once again. Because that's not, our land as of yet. They are living in our land, but those are not the Israelites. See, that's already out there, that these people are imitators, Yeah, you got Ben Stiller out there saying he wishes that he was black, and still trying to throw the narrative that they're the Jews when they're not. These are bastards. These are liars. They're illegit. They are the sons of Edom, not the sons of Jacob, because again, their father is Isaac, but they're the seed of Esau, especially Amalek, which Amalek was actually born after the other seeds, I believe Amalek was actually born after Teman, Which you already know who Teeman is. That's your so-called scientists, you know. The Germans mostly, you know, are your scientists. You know, trust the science, you know. These inventors, these people that invent these very, very bad things that they want to do, you know. Trust the science, right. And see, that's just it. These people go down to Egypt for help, and then they trust the science, and then now they got permanent conditions, and they, you know, are pretty much dependent upon it, right, for their life support, you know. Hey, you know, Esau, these scientists have been convincing people for years, though, that once you get cancer, oh, well, you need to take chemo, you know, give yourself some more radiation and poison your body. I mean, that's what these scientists came up with, right? And people trust the science that it'll make it go away. You go into reemergence, right? Oh, it's dissolved. Is it? Or did they just sort of put putty on it, right? You know, but the problem is there. It's kind of like when you got leaks on a wall and all that, and all you're using is like a putty knife and spackle, but the leaks are still there, right? And that's all that it is. But yet, the side effects of getting chemo and radiation are very severe. The severe consequences, because these people went down to Egypt for help, but that's the scientists. That's Teeman, you know? And people trusted Teeman, right? But, you know, all that trust is about to disappear, right? The wise men out of Edom and the, you know, out of Teeman, you know, because again, you know, how their habitation is desolate with them, you know. You just, I'll just go ahead and bring that out in Jeremiah chapter 49 because it goes into that, you know. But, you know, Esau, Edom has been discovered, right? You know. It's pretty much, everybody knows what an Edomite is, who they are, you know, that they're not white, that they're red. Doesn't want to load. Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 20. Therefore hear the counsel of the Most High that he had taken against Edom and his purposes, that he had purposes against the inhabitants of Teeman. Well, you already know, the scientists, the geniuses, right? You know, well, where's their dwelling place? It's right here in Babylon the Great, right? Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely you shall make their habitations desolate with them. You know, so this place is going to become wholly desolate, you know. That is by way of a nuclear war. Verse 10, I have made Esau bare, I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. You know, again, you know, there's nowhere that Esau can hide. You know, that people don't know who he is. They don't know his agenda. Everybody knows who this man is and what their agenda is. Leave thy fatherless children, I will preserve them alive, and let the widows trust in me. Again, all the laws that they have created there has now started to go against them, right? Because guess what? The Edomite father ain't at home either. You know, because that was originally a curse put on Jake, right? But all the curses that were put onto Jake are now put onto Esau himself, man. Yeah, you know, father has no rights whatsoever, right? The women are running everything, right? So that's a curse in itself. Leave thy fatherless children, I will preserve them alive, and let the widows trust in me. Yeah, and it's no secret that the Edomite women are drawn to Jake men. You know, so, for thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, whose judgment, who was not to drink of the cup, have assuredly drunken. You know, and that is the Israelites. We weren't supposed to drink of that cup. And thou art they that shall go altogether unpunished. Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. Again, the curses are coming upon the Edomites. For I have sworn by myself, saith the Most High, that Basra, another term for America, which is the capital of Edom, shall become a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall become perpetual waste. And that is when the war gets started, you know, when they start firing off their missiles. And it's that Samson option that's really going to start it, you know, because when they find themselves surrounded, the Israeli state is going to use the Samson option, which is to strike nuclear, to send their nukes, and Damascus is going to be their main target, causing it to be a ruinous heap, and pretty much that's when all hell breaks loose. In 1 hour, this place will become wholly desolate. That's what the lake of fire is this place burning, This place itself is going to be burning, and all the merchants of the sea will see the smoke of this place burning, But before that all happens, well, they're going to make it mandatory very soon, your ability to be able to buy and sell. You see, sin is not the MOTB, it's not a metaphor, in your hand or in your forehead. It's not metaphorically speaking. Literally, it's talking about having something implanted in your hand or in your forehead, which you already know that Elon Musk, well, now they're talking about Elon Musk, the guy who invented the brain chip, right? Now they're talking about putting him on board with Donald J. Trump. Well, Donald J. Trump said it was like a micro C-hip, didn't he? When he told you all to get it, that it's like a micro C-hip. That you are your micro C-hip. Remember that? You are your wallet. It's like a micro C-hip. See, he's giving you plenty of clues what the agenda is. And with RFK Jr., pretty much joining forces with him, it just goes to show you how rigged this place is. Hey, the elections are fake. Everything's fake. The skirt's been lifted. Esau has been exposed. So it's just a matter of time till it goes down. And the Most High is speeding things up for the elect's sake. Because we're the ones that are coming out here, day in, day out, sighing and crying for the abominations on the earth. And this place is an abomination. There's abominations everywhere. Everything's defiled. The food is defiled. Everything that they legislate is defiled. So, hey, for our sighing and crying and all that, the Most High is speeding things up for our sake. So hopefully this has been edifying. For that I want to say, Braka the Yahweh, Braka the Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rekakadosh, Wa Abab Babal. Brakatham, Jehovah Elect, Shalom.